His journey from an unknown to a senator to now the presidency of the United States is really symbolic. It's important for African Americans and black people throughout the diaspora and on the continent, as we can see. But what he represents is a symbol that things can turn around. And I think for a lot of black people, particularly at this era, we didn't understand how important that was until he came. But we also have to remember that his journey, his ascension, is really as a result of the first slaves who decided to not die, to not jump overboard, to not die in the hold of a ship, and to live and to continue here. So for me, that's an important phenomenon. But I also understand and know very keenly that his sense of hope and change is an international platform, and that he not only speaks for African Americans and black people diasporically, but that he speaks for the world, and he represents that for the world. And I think it's that charisma and that sense of hope and change that the world sees why he is so popular. The change I want to see happen specifically in this community where I've lived for the last almost 30 years in Oakland is education. Somewhere along the line, particularly for young African Americans, they have lost the dream of education, and they no longer seem, not all of them, but many of them seem no longer to value that. And I've really been trying to understand how that phenomena has come about when African Americans fought so vehemently for education. And that was such an important part of the history of this culture. In fact, the history of the entire black world, because for so long we were denied education. So for me, that's the most important change that needs to happen right now for young black kids to understand how important education is and to work hard to achieve and to excel. And in that piece of education is a whole thing of knowing about themselves. Because I think also what has happened is that they've bought the stereotype, the modern stereotype of being ghetto, of being uneducated, of, all of those negative stereotypes they have kind of claimed as their own in the language they use and the names they call themselves. So change for me is about education and self-knowledge, that young African American people, young Caribbean people, young African people really search out and seek the knowledge about themselves so they can move from a place of empowerment, knowing that all these achievements that are in the society that never gets publicized have been around from the very beginning, from when we were here. I believe all my life I've been working towards the change because I've always felt conscious about being part of something, and I've always wanted to be part of something. And so I've been in the field of education as a writer, as a teacher, and that's where I'm going to continue because I love what I do and I'm good at what I do. And I believe that that is the key to change. I think everyone participates in the change, willingly or unwillingly. For me, it is to continue to teach and to educate through my poetry and my writing, but also directly in terms of working with students, in terms of working with teachers, in terms of working to create a more equitable educational system that really meets the needs of our children. So I think, there have been a lot of change in education and there have been a lot of changes in the world, but quite frankly, I'm not sure that our educational structure has kept up to that. And so I am working in whatever way I can to work within the structure of education, to infuse children and teachers with knowledge, with learning, with presenting information in a more engaging manner, with just celebrating life and to just be joyful of who and what we are and the possibilities that we can create for ourselves. I really think we can and are the change and can make a difference. And so this is an exciting time for me. I refuse to be one of the doom, flag wavers. This is an exciting and optimistic time. And I know that from this period is going to come a great deal of creativity, a great deal of technological development, a great deal of understanding and coexistent with our world. So I'm excited. I'm up for it.